We want to take a moment to welcome everybody to the Watch This Shit podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. My name is Seneca, the movie professor, and I have my collaborator and cooperator here, Young Sam. Go ahead and introduce yourself, young man.
Yo, it's Young Sam, aka Large Blockman.
Okay. All right. With this podcast, we're going to give you the definitive decision on whether you should go view a new movie release or not. It's real easy. If we say watch this shit, stop what you're doing and go enjoy some good cinema. If we say don't watch this shit, avoid it like baby mamas and practical niggas. Or don't, do what you want. It may be fun. It may cost you too many years of your life, and you can't get those back. You don't want to listen to us? You put your life in your own hands. Today, we are discussing Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, a movie that lasted the same amount of time it took the scientists to develop the actual bombs that the movie is about. All right. So so let me give a real quick synopsis. I was just gonna jump into the themes of the movie, but it's labeled a biopic um about Oppenheimer, who is considered the father of the atomic bomb.
hmm
Um that's pretty much all you get. It's based on a book. I don't even know the name of the book, but it's the life and times of J. Robert Oppenheimer. I just made that up. It's not the name of the book. I think it's called Prometheus or something. American Prometheus, maybe. Y'all can look it up. It doesn't matter. Um, because watching this movie is almost the same as somebody reading this book to you. Anyway, I want I want to jump right into the themes. Um, Christopher Nolan began this film in the very first two scenes, and he did a labeling convention where the number one was on the screen, and beside it was the word fission. And in the next scene, the number two was on the screen, and the word fusion was on there. He didn't come back to that. I don't know if he forgot. I don't know if he ran out of time to get that fixed in post. For some reason, I saw I saw his vision there, and I thought that he was going to labeled different sections of the movie under different parts of the way that bombs work, or that the theoretical research of the atomic bombs worked. He didn't do it. He just gave up. It was very weird.
yeah. That's. I was like, okay. I was like, fusion. All right, fission. What's next? Never found
What's next?
out.
Nothing. Nothing. Um. So sound. Now I want to talk about sound because honestly, he's a genius at creating sounds that bring out emotions while you're watching the movie. It could be ambient sound, it could be background, it could be music, it could be anything. He is able to use those sounds to really put you in a mindset of what he wants you to experience. The problem is that Nolan doesn't understand that not all sound is conducive to a movie going experience. Sometimes if you have your background just as loud as the audio for your actors and the background music, the same levels, we're gonna need some subtitles, dog. We're gonna need some subtitles. You can't do it. And Nolan, if you listen, I gave you that tip for free. You don't have to pay me. Just please, at least in your next movie, put on some subtitles. Shit.
Yeah, because it was times in the movie where I was like, what did they say? It kind of felt the same as Tenet. You're like, what did they say? I can't understand because there's so much going on. There's so much sound going in my ears. I can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah. And that's a problem with Nolan and his films, and I really started noticing it around The Dark Knight Rises with that Bane shit, which was annoying. But he really believes that he can get by with just feelings and emotions in the movie. Like you don't he this is how he feels. You don't need to know what they say. The problem is he knows what they say because he fucking wrote it. So you don't have dude, you personally, no, you don't have to know what they say because you're the writer. You already know what they said. But the other people that are viewing it, yes, we need to know as part of the movie going experience.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
All right, visuals. Some of the scenes were brilliantly shot. Um, and they even did the memento, right? Black and white scenes to like offset the passage of time, which
hmm
which was cool. Uh, my biggest problem I had was when they threw in that stock footage. I don't like when people put stock footage in movies. I don't. I just don't. And that's anytime that somebody uses footage that has already been filmed and shot, and filmmakers or creators can use it for free. You can probably go on freaking um what's the thing that women used to look at? Pinterest. You can probably go on Pinterest and find some stock footage that you can use in your own like little projects. I don't like when people put that in real life movies. Lucy was a movie that did that, and I remember hating every moment of it. They would show scenes of cougars attacking their prey, right? And it would be film that people shot probably for like National Geographic or whatever, and put it in the movie. No, that doesn't go in the movie.
No,
Put what's in your movie in your movie. And there's other moments where he has I thought they were digital effects, but somebody said that he bragged that he didn't use any CGI. But those starry effects, right? Where you
mhm.
can kind of see into Oppenheimer's mind, his thought process on him visualizing the bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, he's putting those moments in to try to get us in the theoretical physicist's head. But to me, those moments really didn't add anything to the character. They just added to the fucking runtime. Like now you're just making a movie long,
Which was long as hell.
which was already long as hell. Oh, and my other problem with the themes of the movie is that this event had real life consequences. It fucked up the mental state of a whole nation. Japan was never the same after this. And yeah, we got some real creativity out of it, right? Godzilla, Akira, Big Man Japan. Those all those ideas were birthed out of a catastrophic event happening and everything that they know just being wiped away. But they didn't give that emotion to the movie. My friend, one of my homies, he sent me a clip from an animated film from Japan where kids are outside playing. It's peaceful, and the Americans fly by in the bomber, right? And they drop
Mhm.
it, and then all of a sudden, heat that is unbearable spreads out over the whole area. People are melting, their eyeballs are falling out of their heads. A lady has a baby on her back. The baby's eyes start melting. The baby falls to the ground. The lady tries to catch the baby, and then they are like a burnt husk wrapped up together on the ground. Like these are real. These things really happen to people, and
Mhm.
I really feel like they glossed over that shit.
Yeah, yeah,
They,
you can actually go online and you can see photos from the bomb droppings, and it's like what you described.
yeah, they missed an opportunity to really put some real weight behind it instead of just yay, we beat the Germans to the creation of these destructive weapons.
Mhm.
Um, which is a this is the last. I'm gonna get off the flaws in a moment. The other one that I really wanted to talk about was the Heisenberg versus Oppenheimer race. Um, Heisenberg was the German physicist that was responsible for doing the same thing Oppenheimer was doing for America, but he lost. He failed. I think showing that counterpoint more in the movie would have made the movie better. They only showed Heisenberg once. They had one meeting and that was it. They didn't even show I don't remember them showing Oppenheimer trying to persuade Heisenberg to work with him.
Um,
Yeah, during that meeting, did they even talk about that?
I don't think so. No.
Right. So that's a whole thing. Heisenberg had a situation where he almost killed his entire team. They lost control of one of their tests, and a crazy explosion broke out, and the whole team had to evacuate, or else they were going to die. That setback, that failure, would have showed so much contrast to what Oppenheimer was doing because they were succeeding almost at every turn. It's almost to the point of ridiculousness. Like whatever they needed to have done, they did. They needed to build a city, they built it. They needed to build trains to bring materials to the city, they built them. They need to get all this material, even though it was hard to get, they got it. It was no, there were no
Mhm.
obstacles.
No challenge. Yep.
Yeah, no,
We
not at all. They just did it. Okay, we need to do it. Do it. Cool. There's no reason we should have been there for 3 hours if they had it that easy.
no. And I think at one point they briefly touched on Heisenberg failing, but it was quick. It was like maybe 10 seconds. I was like, "Oh."
Hmm. Just like a passing. Just we mentioned it. No, we need. I need to see like that. That would have been a great scene. The way that he. Oh no, the way Christopher Nolan works with sound that builds tension. A scene with them trying to escape an explosion would have been tremendous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about the characters. Um, and before we started, young Sam laughed at me because I didn't even put Cillian Murphy on the list of characters that I wanted to talk about. He's and I'll do it. I'll talk about him. But honestly, he's such a background type character. I mean, right in Dark Knight, he was Scarecrow. In
Mhm,
Inception, he was the son of the guy that they were trying to incept, right? Like he's
mhm.
the only main like title, like starring role he's had, I think, has been the movie Red Eye. I mean, I know he was in Peaky Blinders, the
Yeah.
series, right? But I mean, like Hollywood movie. Like I don't think he's strong enough to carry a movie.
And yeah, that's I agree. He's not really strong enough to really carry a movie. Like this was supposed to be I feel like this was supposed to be his movie, but he was overshadowed.
Mm. And he was overshadowed by Robert Downey Jr., who's in the movie. I didn't even know this dude was in the movie, and I thought I had got spoiled from from YouTube because in the trailer he looks and sounds like Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future. He looks like Doc Brown. I, did, I didn't. I don't know what happened. I don't know if that was makeup department. It's a decision. But he's unrecognizable. He is the character that he's playing. You
Mhm.
can't. He's not Robert Downey Jr. He's whoever that guy is that hated Oppenheimer,
Louis
which I don't know.
Strauss.
Strauss. There you go.
Mhm.
That's his name. Yeah, yeah. He was vindictive, almost as vindictive as Warner Brothers was against Christopher Nolan. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. um, Emily Blunt. I loved Emily Blunt. Um, Edge of Tomorrow, Quiet Place. She's like an amazing actor. She was wasted.
Yeah.
There's a way to write a character with quirks, and I talked about this in our Mission Impossible review. Um, where there was a character who had a quirk that wasn't expanded upon, that wasn't in the forefront. It was just something they did. They couldn't drive. It was that simple. Every time they got in the car, you knew it was going to be a problem. This lady, the only thing that we know about her is that she likes alcohol. She don't give a fuck about her kids, and she has an overwhelming sexual attraction to Oppenheimer, even when she was married.
Right.
But we don't get any real motivation about why she does the things that she does. It's very wasteful.
Mhm. Agreed. Yeah, her character to me just like you said, it just felt wasted. Like she was just there, and then she had her shining moment, and then even that still felt a little uh, like it
Yeah.
could have been a little better
Mhm.
coming from her
Like,
her
yeah,
caliber of an actress.
exactly. Yeah, they needed to punch that up, and I know what you're talking about when she had to go, right, do her testimony at the review.
Mhm.
They needed to punch that up because it needed to be some more bite to it or some more definitive wins that she caused from what she was saying, but it was nothing. Yeah. Um, and then there's the guy, and his real name is Benny Safdie. I don't know what else he's been in. He's not a huge name actor. Um, but the whole time I'm watching the movie, I thought this dude had on a fake face. He he looked like the stunt man from John Wick 4. Have you seen John Wick 4?
Yeah.
Okay, the dude that was in the fat suit.
Yeah.
He's not really fat in real life. This then he played the mob boss or whatever and had this stunt fight with John Wick with Keanu Reeves. He looked like that dude. I thought he was fake. I did not believe that was his face. Um, so I don't know if I need to apologize to this dude. No, his mama needs to apologize to him because that face don't look real. He looked like the aliens from Men in Black. You know the little dudes that sit in the head of a person and they put on a people suit. He looks like a people suit. I don't even want people to see. I'm not gonna mince words. I don't. I'm firmly on the don't watch this shit side. But I want you to watch this dude's face
And like I
because I
don't
need
know
somebody else to see this.
if it was makeup because I mean he looks, but in the movie it looked worse.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you look at him just on a normal picture, it's like, okay, I can kinda see
Okay,
it, but in
maybe I
the
need.
movie, it just looked worse.
Yeah, maybe I need to look at some images of him, and maybe they were trying to make him look like the real dude that he was playing. But sometimes it ain't worth it. Sometimes just let us use our imagination. Matt Damon's in this movie. He's playing the general that was over the mission. Uh,
Leslie Groves.
there's too many people in this movie. It's too many. It's too many people in this movie, and it's just it's stuffed. It's overpacked. Albert Einstein's in this movie. Is I don't know who plays him. It doesn't matter. And people come and go for one scene, two scenes, and then that's it. That's all they got. Rami Malek, uh, Ben Affleck's little brother, um, freaking
Jack
the
Quaid.
dude that played Han Solo, Jack Quaid. Yeah, like you was about to say, Jack Quaid. And they're just in it so fleeting. And it's did we really have to do that? Like, did that add anything? Was it necessary? Is what I ask myself. And at 3 hours, it's not.
Not
I
at
don't know
all.
if it's 3 hours. I don't know the official runtime, but it
It's
felt
3
like
hours.
4. Oh, it is. It's real 3 hours.
It's 3 hours.
Ooh,
I
that's
clocked
too long. That's too long. There's no reason to be in the movie theater for 3 hours unless you're watching Into the Spider Verse.
it.
I would have said and watched the Spider Verse movie probably 10 hours. 10 hours. I've probably been like, okay, I'm a little tired.
Then got up and watched it again.
Yeah, then yeah. At least two more times. Um, I'm gonna just briefly talk about the. Well, no, you know what? I didn't like the scene with the president. Me and Sam talked a little bit about it before the podcast, um, which you told me that
It
this
actually happened.
meeting, yeah, the meeting actually happened. Um, but I didn't feel like it added anything to the story.
No. No, I think it was like a trope that they just put in there. It's like, "Oh, here you go."
Yeah.
Like, maybe that was, like, a defining moment in the book, or maybe it was just like a, "Oh, this person met the president," but it was just like it felt forced to me.
Mhm. Mhm. Me too. Yeah. It was a fabricated way to add tension.
Yes.
Um, that wasn't earned. Yeah. And my last point that I want to make that I feel like is flaw is pacing. Pacing. There was no sense of passage of time in this movie. Things would happen, and then it'd just be the next scene, and it may be years later, it may be weeks later, it may be days later. You didn't know. It didn't matter. It was
Mm,
just like I was saying about the things that they needed, like no obstacles. It just things were just happening. It's like, dude, I'm not asking them to say, hey, put the date on the screen every scene. You don't have to do that. But at least made me understand that it took some work to get to this point rather than it just being there.
right. Yeah, it's like sometimes it was like, I think years had passed, like 2 years had passed, and I was like, "Huh? Oh, wait, huh? Like, how did we get here?"
Uh-huh.
I
And
don't
it
know.
just and it was.
Just like, the pacing was just it just chugged along and chugged along. It was just so just dry. It was just like, but then when the bomb dropped, it was like, "Oh, okay." And then I started looking at the time because I was just like, this just it keeps going.
Yeah, like what are we doing now? Right? This should be the end of the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So almost, well, honestly, more interesting than the movie Oppenheimer was the war between Oppenheimer and Barbie. So, uh, Nolan had a very public falling out with Warner Brothers on the direction they were taking during the pandemic on movie releases. He hated that they tried to promote their streaming service at the expense of the movie-going experience. He wanted to be the savior of movies of movies with Tenet, which didn't happen. It ended up being Tom Cruise with Top Gun. Um, but after the contracts were not favorable to the directors and the actors, he vowed to never work with Warner Brothers again. So now, fast forward 2 years. The company he previously had so many positive dealings with chose to release one of their biggest movies directly against his. Not only that, they went all out with the marketing and promotion to ensure that their movie was in people's faces. They spent this is and I don't have access to their books, but reports are showing that they spent more on marketing than they spent on the fucking movie. So anyone that says that companies' only goal is business and making money, don't know Warner Brothers because these niggas is petty.
It
um,
was only
um,
it showed us only 5 million more, but still, it's like 150 million just for marketing.
yeah,
That's ridiculous.
and yeah, that's dumb. And they hurt. I feel like they hurt both, right? Because both of them had good openings. I think Oppenheimer had like close to 80 million, and Barbie had close to 150, right? Opening
Mhm.
weekend. Um, but if they didn't have to fight for premium theaters, if they didn't have to fight for cinema space, if they opened 2 weeks apart, each one of them would have performed better. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy that this is a thing. I wonder if they're gonna do this with every time he releases a movie. They're gonna move one of their movies that they really feel strongly about in the same spot.
It'd be interesting to see.
That would be very interesting to see. Okay. So now on to the final verdict. So this is my point. This is how I feel. Nolan was super ambitious with this movie. He he wants to be a scientist so bad. I told Sam coming out the movie, Mr. Nolan, you're a director. The ship has sailed. You're not going to go get that doctorate, the masters in theoretical physics. You're not. Interstellar, this shit. No, you're not. You're just a director. Do your job. Um, but for real, unless you like people reading you a history lesson, don't watch this shit. It was long, drawn out, and there was no real tension. And that's a shortcoming. Because Nolan is usually very good at that. Go ahead, Sam. Give them your take.
Yeah, so I kind of feel the same way when they were talking about in the beginning they were talking about the bomb, and I thought the movie was going to be about okay, just the process of how the bomb is actually made, and I was interested in that, but it didn't really touch on that, and I was like, I left the theater just feeling very let down. Coming from Christopher Nolan and Stellar, I was like, oh okay, but this one just didn't really hit it there for me. If you want something that's more like you said, reading like a book, go for it, watch it. But if you want to learn something, uh, don't go in there expecting a lot. You'll learn that his wife was a drunk, pretty much.
Yeah, we learned that lesson. And we don't know nothing else. We know she didn't give a fuck about them kids and that she liked to drink. They took the baby to somebody else's house and she was like, fuck them kids. Let's have sex. And I was like, wow. And had another one. I was like, y'all need to practice some other methods. Parenting ain't for everybody.
Yep, yep,
All
yep.
right, cool. All right, so we want to thank you for listening to another episode of Watch This Shit. You come here for the realest take on new movies, so make sure to follow us so you're not left in the dark on whether you should check out a new movie or not. If you haven't seen this shit yet, go on about your life. Don't even worry about it. Matter of fact, you're doing good. Damn, you're doing good. But check us out next time when we review Barbie. And good day, sir.